I'm Kathleen, and I'm the designer and shop owner of Windy Chaos. Windy Chaos is a digital planner sticker shop, and I'm a huge advocate of planning and what it does, not just for our productivity, but also for our emotional health. I'm here today to help anyone who's trying to figure out what the planner world is all about and how to get started. I love the feeling of being organized. I love planners. As a kid, I was always frustrated and flustered and disorganized and searching for a better system just so that I could feel somewhat in control. We weren't given any school agendas when I was a kid, and I was constantly just trying to remember when assignments were due. And I just wasn't all that great at managing my own tasks or timelines. As an adult, I functioned best when I was consistently using a paper planner. I've always loved tech though, and I was an early user of the Palm Pilot and then the BlackBerry. And then I was exclusively using those techie tools for quite a while. And then I found out about the planner community and I've just flipped out because I've always loved office supplies. Isn't that crazy? But I used kind of a hybrid of the two for many, many years. And that was using paper for more of my general to-do lists and my phone for alarms such as appointments and stuff. It's not a fail-proof system, but it worked okay. And I just want you to remember that even though I'm explaining my different processes, the system that works best is going to be the system that you'll use. So whatever that looks like for you, that's the thing to go with. For some people, it's going to be more technical and digital, and for others, they're tech phobic and it's okay. It's okay to stay just analog and paper. All right. So let's first talk about paper planners. And I just wanted to go over some of the pros and cons. Paper planners are my first love. I just adore them. There's something so fulfilling about just writing things on paper. Plus, writing things actually cements them in your head, which is a really great thing. So, just that act of writing things down is really, really good. But you can also do that in digital planning. Writing is important. So anyway, with Paper Planner, there are tons and tons of options. There's lots of places that you can buy them. You can buy them online. You can go to TJ Maxx. You can go to Target or Walmart or Office Depot. There are lots and lots of them, a lot of different types of systems. Some of them are disc bound, some of them are wire spiral bound. Um, there's just almost no limit to what you can find. I also really love traveler's notebook styles where you have little individual notebooks that are then bound with a piece of leather, and those are great, just great. So anyhow, tons of options. It might take you a little while to find the perfect one for you, but they're out there. They're portable for the most part. Sometimes they can get a little bit large, and that can be a little problematic. And we don't always want to tote something that's the size of a binder, everywhere, or the weight of a binder everywhere. So sometimes your best planner is one that just stays on your desk, and the exercise of planning brings about um, that good outcome that you're looking for, which is kind of that calm and peace. And I know where I'm going, but I'm not going to lug this thing with me everywhere. Um, so for myself, that's kind of how I did it. I was a big proponent of the Happy Planner, and I just kept it at home, and I would snap a pic and I had it in my phone each week for when I needed to look at something, and check my planner. So that was my little hybrid thing. Oops, I needed to go back. Sorry. I sometimes click out of where I want to be, and I certainly did that right there. Okay. Um, gonna try to speed this up. I don't want the whole video to be too long. Anyhow, one of the great things about a paper planner is it creates a journal. It is a tactile thing that you can flip the pages, which feels wonderful and it looks wonderful. And our life is made up of appointments and to-do lists and errands that we run and baseball games and dances and just loads of fun things. And they're all in there with the date. And you can add the pictures and things like that. So it can really, truly be a scrapbook after the year is done and be beautiful. So I have that listed as a positive and a negative because it's a vulnerable scrapbook, as all of them are. You know, you have to take care of them or they could get damaged. And then all the things I have listed as a pro and a con because all the things are really fun. That's your washi tape and your pens and your highlighters and just all the fun stickers and things like that. And they're beautiful in your planner, but they are also something that you have to store and keep track of, and it can get to be a lot really fast. So now to digital. So I switched when I wasn't near my supplies on a regular basis anymore. They were in my office area and I used them that way, but then I moved my office area to a much smaller space and I just wasn't around them as much. And so I found myself not planning. And that's when I started looking at the digital. So, uh, I was just doing the appointments and reminders, and that just didn't give that overview that I love about planning. You know, you can get by with a calendar and a to do list, but planning gives you a big overview of your whole week and helps you to slot those important opportunity times to get things done. Um, you know, sometimes we think, oh, well, I'll do that later, but you don't have a later because that's all stacked up. So, anyhow, digital planning for me, it just comes with all the bells and whistles. I'm using it on a platform that I'm already using all the time, which is my phone. And and so integrating a tablet with that that makes it go across those two devices is just perfection for me. It can be very affordable, but it can also be really costly. So let me explain. It can be affordable in that you're reusing things. You can have a favorite little label that you use over and over and over again. You don't have to buy more labels ever because it's a digital sticker. It's a file. Whereas if you have a favorite sticker, you use it once and you're done. Um, so that part can actually be a big savings. Um, and there's no storage to worry about. You don't have to store sticker books or, I mean, you do digitally and you want to be a little organized in that, but it doesn't require a craft card, which in my case, mine definitely required a craft cart and then some. So, and again, that portability across devices, depending on how you set things up and what type of hardware you've got, it can be really, really simple to have everything work. I'm in a complete Apple ecosystem here now, but I wasn't always. In fact, I was a huge proponent of Android for a very long time. And you can definitely still use things across devices and Android as well. So, not knocking it at all. But usually, if you've got one type of phone, you're going to want that same type of tablet to make things work. So, some of the cons can be though, if you don't already have a tablet or a computer, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to go out and buy those things just to do digital planning when you could buy a really nice planner for 30 bucks. So don't do that. I mean, if you need a tablet for other things, then that's a big consideration. There's a learning curve with any new applications that you try for sure. Um, but don't give up. You can do it. I have faith in you. Every bit of learning is good and it can be a lot of fun. Uh, so it can be kind of expensive if you're upgrading though, like if you need it, if you want an Apple Pencil, those are $100 plus And but there are less expensive options out there, and it doesn't have to be an Apple Pencil. The cool thing about Android is there are some really inexpensive options for Android tablets. So don't let that initial cost be a barrier, especially if you're already using like an Android phone. All right, here we go. So, what is digital planning? Digital planning is actually you're taking a PDF that has internal links and you are marking it up. So those links are just to internal pages. So you might check on a spot and then it'll zip you over to that page. And that's basically what it is. A big planner will sometimes have 700 some pages in that PDF. And so getting to the different sections, you'll want to use the little links. A stylus is recommended because you're going to be adding things to it, usually a lot of handwriting and such, which is very helpful with a stylus. And then the planner itself, like I said, is that linked PDF. And then you have PDF markup apps. So, like I was saying earlier, it's best to stay within one family. If you're using an iPhone, you'll want an iPad. If you're using an Android phone, you'll want an Android tablet. You can use the computer. There often are apps that work across that as well. Um, so I can use GoodNotes on my computer. I can then use them on my tablet. Some folks use some other things, and we'll get into those here in just a minute. But the best thing is just finding something that's going to work across devices. So most of the apps that I'm going to mention here are would fall under the category of being a PDF markup app or a note-taking app, and they're designed to be used on tablets. Your planner is a PDF with links, and these apps help you mark up or add annotations to the document, which, by the way, can make for a wonderful tool whether you attend a lot of different meetings or classes where you take a lot of notes or not. I'm no longer in an office situation, so I don't take a lot of business notes, but I do attend church and I take sermon notes. I do attend my mom's medical appointments and I take notes there. I do attend community government meetings and I take notes there too. So I find note taking is just a really good way to stay focused. I don't record every last thing, but I do hit the broad strokes, and it's just a really great way to not let your mind wander. Also, you can do digital planning without it being a PDF. You can develop a system of just using your calendar and a to-do list. And I will mention here, there's an app on iOS. I'm not sure if it's on Android as well, but it's called Structured. And if I were not doing digital planning the way I do it with PDFs, I totally would use that. It's a great way that it integrates your calendar and your to-do list really, really well, um, and helps you still have that overview, but it helps you then schedule in your to-dos. Like at this time, I'm going to take care of this one thing. And anyway, it's a nice little app, and I definitely encourage people to use it because it's nice. And there are also adaptations to OneNote that people use for digital planning, and there's groups that can really help you with that. I haven't played with it that much for digital planning, but I used to love OneNote when I had an office job. And then there's Notion, which is a fabulous tool, very powerful. I know folks use it for kind of as a second brain in a lot of things. You make massive amounts of lists, and they're really just little databases and data sets and stuff. So Notion is pretty amazing. Anyway, those are both ones that you can use on your computer and tablet, and then they have phone versions as well. Um, some of the most popular Android ones are Penly and Exodo. Um, and then GoodNotes. Zoom Notes is my absolute favorite iOS one, and I intend to have lots of videos about it. And Notability is one that I hear many good things about. I know I've played with it in the past, but it was one of those things that once I found Zoom Notes, I was just sold and I stopped looking because it's just so good. All right. So, is it possible to find planner peace? You know, people ask that both in the planner, in the paper world, and in the digital world. And yes, I do believe it is possible to find planner peace, but it's kind of a journey. So if you're going to jump into this, don't jump into it thinking the first planner I'm going to buy is going to be it, or even the second planner I'm going to buy. But don't buy 20 planners, you know, buy one that's pretty basic and then figure out what it is that you're missing that you'll use. If you buy one that tracks every aspect of your life, I'm afraid you'll also get super overwhelmed and then you won't keep at it either. So definitely look around. Um, and there's also lots of ways to make your own planner. Um, you can use Keynotes, you can use PowerPoint. Um, if you use Adobe InDesign or Affinity Publisher, all of those are ways that you can make your own if you're kind of technical. There's lots of good videos out there how to do it too. In Zoom Notes, you can make one of your own as well. I haven't explored that a whole lot, but I will eventually, and hopefully have a video for you there when I know what I'm doing. um, I will tell you if you buy multiple digital planners on Etsy, that sellers are recommended not to give any refunds. So, you know, if you're thinking, well, I'll buy a bunch of these and then I'll return them, it doesn't really work that way. Once you have the file, you have the file. So, there's not a way for the seller to say, yeah, I'll just take it back because you could still have the file. So, anyhow, just wanted to give you that little heads up and that it's not individuals necessarily making that recommendation, it's actually the platform. So, I just also wanted to um, let you know that I'm filming this in June. That means the year is half over. So, in 6 months, people are going to be making loads of discoveries on whether they should upgrade or downgrade their planner. And it's just around the corner. It's not going to take long. So I can tell you, as I do in my other videos, that what my favorite planner is, but it doesn't really matter what my favorite planner is. And I'll say it's Breezy Organization that's has just become my favorite. It works for me, but that doesn't mean it'll work for you. I love it for the fact that it's a blank canvas every week and every day if I want to use it that way. But that doesn't mean you want a blank canvas. That might be completely intimidating to you. And sometimes it's intimidating to me too. I look at it, I'm like, all my creativity's gone. What am I gonna do? So, and you might really love the consistency of a single design for the year. So I like to mix it up, but you don't have to. So even though I'm saying this is my favorite and I really love the aesthetic, and you know, she has other planners that are not blank slates. That the blank slate one is just my favorite. It's called the fully customizable. Anyhow, just wanted to drop that note there that even though if you're looking at my videos and you're seeing the kits that I use and you see the mock-ups and you're like, what planner is that? Yes, it's Breezy Organization, but it might not be the perfect fit for you to have that particular one. What I really love about her planners is that she doesn't put in a fitness section and a finance section. Well, I guess she does put in a finance section, but there's not it doesn't get in the way of the rest of the stuff is what I was gonna say. And then there's a bunch of like sections at the back that I can make my own. So that works better for me than a lot of pre-designed pages like how to track my children's clothes sizes. Well, my kiddos are all grown and gone, so I don't need to track that. Um, so anyhow, to each their own is my main point, and even though I've found something that makes me happy, doesn't mean it would be the same thing that would make you happy. So you do you, and that's okay. All right. So what are digital stickers? How are they different than just any old PNG file? Guess what? They're not. We used to call this clip art back in the day. And the thing is, any digital clip art that you already have, you can use in a planner. If you've done any sort of digital scrapbooking, you probably have a load of clip art that you could use. It's just a PNG file, and PNGs mean that there's not a white background, is all. So, um, they're great. Uh, there's lots of sellers that sell just digital planner stickers, and that means that they've made some PNGs that fit really well for planning. Like if you're looking at this screen here, we've got the little Ferris wheel here at the bottom. That could be used for anything, right? But that checklist is called a widget. Excuse me. And it was designed on in a program and then saved as a PNG. And so the whole thing is one sticker, one file, and it can be placed over anything. You can draw out a shape in your planner app and just pop that little checklist on top of it. Or if the kit that you bought has those shapes in it, then you can just layer them. So this is what we mean by a digital sticker. And you'll also see here I've got this little frame. Again, you're kind of playing with layers a little bit, like you put down your photo, then you would want to put down the frame, and then you could put this little piece of washi over it. And it gives you that look of being a paper creation. Most of the time when you buy digital stickers, they're going to come in a GoodNotes sticker book, but they'll also come as a PNG file. So you want to make sure that whatever you're buying has both, because you may not be using GoodNotes, or you may not even be um, in an Apple environment. You might be in an Android environment. So then you definitely want the PNGs. And I also suggest that as you start on this journey, you come up with kind of a filing system that's going to work for you. You might want to separate things by season, or when I do things by season, I do winter, spring, summer, fall, Christmas. Um, Christmas just gets its whole own season because I usually have way too much Christmas stuff. You might, or you could even pop in Halloween there because I usually have quite a bit of Halloween. But so you could do it by season, you could do it by designer. And remember, just because it's digital, as long as you've got the hard drive space or the cloud storage, you could always do it both ways. You could say, okay, I've copied this into this designer, but it's a fall kit, so I'm going to put it in my fall and just duplicate it. So, that's a really good way to be able to look it up like, oh, I know I bought it from so and so, but I'm not sure where. And, it's really nice to be able to go back and forth and find things that way. Okay. So we talked about widgets, great. But these are the fun things, and you can definitely make your own. You don't have to purchase all of it. If you have any doodling skills, you can make your own stickers, I promise you, especially if you have like Procreate or any of the other drawing apps. Um, Even the PDF markup note-taking app that you're using for planning will have some basic shape functions as well. All right. So let's go to the getting started part. So, one of the things you're going to want to determine really quickly is how, when, and where you're going to plan. And that's really going to help you decide just how big a planner do you want. If you're just going to plan on the fly when you're sitting in the doctor's office or waiting in the line of cars to pick up your kiddos at school, you might just want something that just can go in your purse, something super, super portable. But if you're somebody who wants to carve out a little me time with your planner, it's going to be a lot easier and more relaxing to do on something that's a little larger, um, while you're watching Netflix and kicking back, Sunday afternoon. And that's where you'll find me on the couch with my iPad. And then it just bridges across to my mini iPad that I carry in my purse. And then you have that big decision to make whether it's going to be paper or digital. So, my recommendation is start simple, no matter which one you go for. Don't try to get the biggest, most overwhelming planner out there because if it's overwhelming, you won't use it. And then join a community. There are so many great Facebook groups out there, and they kind of have every level of beginner to expert in them, and they're super friendly. And just don't go on there and get sucked into comparison because that'll kill your joy and drain your bank account. Just go in there to be inspired and to problem solve if you have having a certain, obstacle. And then establish a routine. Just have a time of day that is yours to do this. And then trust your system. David Allen has a great book called Getting Things Done, and he talks about trusted resources. And a trusted resource can be anything. It could be a system of sticky notes, it could be a spiral notebook, but it's something that you're going to do kind of your brain dump and then you're going to refer back to. If if you dump your brain in a bunch of different areas, you're not going to have that resource to go back to. And that kind of negates the whole thing. You can't trust your system. But if your planner becomes that trusted system that you refer back to, then you'll be doing really well. Plus, I find it actually really helps me to go to sleep at night. If I have done that little bit of review, like how did I do today? Which things can I check off? And then planning out the next day, then I am so much happier and I can let the gerbils off for the night, and go to sleep. I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. I hope I was able to pass on some valuable information that'll make it easier for you to decide what type of planner you are. I absolutely believe in planning. I believe it's worth the effort. I believe it's valuable for peace of mind and for being productive. Life is just easier when you plan, even if it doesn't always run true to the plan. I hope that you'll like and subscribe, um, to see upcoming videos where I plan to dive into Zoom Notes and why I love it so much. Thank you again, and you have a wonderful day.